Hello everyone, my name is Rob and I'm a video gamer. If you can't tell what type of system I'm using, I'm going to show you the controller. You be the judge. Right here is a Sony PlayStation 3 controller, DualShock Edition, DualShock 3. I'm not sure you can read that because I have the screen facing me so that way I can see what I'm doing. I like my video games a lot, but I do not like when people try to box and stereotype me and place me in a so-called box because some dumbass senator thinks that I'm the person responsible for it. I am a video gamer. I do not think in any instance that all the games I play are too violent, and if they are, I use them as a scapegoat to coax myself or coax myself out of reality and just into this little virtual world where there's no real repercussions, there's no real problems, because in the end I don't see any real problems. I play games like Metal Gear Solid 4, Brutal Legend, Duke Nukem, Grand Theft Auto. I listen to music that can be deemed violent and offensive, but it's not really violent and offensive at all. I watch movies, like stuff that if you look through my video queue on Netflix, you'll see all the types of movies I watch. I watch movies like Rambo 3, and then the original Sylvester Stallone's First Blood. The problem is that a lot of people think that these movies and these video games and the music that I listen to are too violent, too creepy, because the content that in the lyrics is far contrary to those that people listen to today. I do not commend violence. I don't commend anything. I think that people tend to lump each other in the group because that's what they feel is necessary. Oh, you're just playing, I'm playing Duke Nukem. That means you probably like seeing computer-generated titties. No, I play Duke Nukem because I like first-person shooters, and that's one of the games I grew up playing. That's the thing. Gamers have grown. They matured. A lot of the kids, they aren't going to go out there and try to kill each other. For real, if they can do it in a video game. Because it's kind of like the same thing. You still get that same satisfaction. Kinda. You don't think that gun ownership's the problem? It kinda is. Mental illness is also a problem. But none of those two things are talked about. Gun rights, I'm for them. But certain gun ownership laws need to be abolished. One law that should be abolished from the get-go is the assault rifles. We should ban all of those. And any high-powered sniper rifles, bazookas, or anything else that can be placed in civilian hands. We should keep them out of civilian hands. We live in the United States as a society, and I've never seen anything like this. Like the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting, perpetrated by an adult who never went to that school, or might have. The thing is that people go out there and start talking about how this is going to affect, society. The video games, the music, and the media. The problem is we don't focus on mental health than just video games. We just take the easiest route. Be like, well, these video games are too violent. I don't want my children playing these video games. I don't want my stepson's children to play these video games. Even this one has titties and nudity in it. But I don't want my kids and my stepson's kids playing these video games. The problem is, it's not the video games that are the issue. Of course, you want to keep an eye on the ratings on the ESRB and keep your mind on the back of the cover to see what type of programs are in there, or what type of things that they might see and they might have questions about. Or you might have questions about seeing if it's perfect for them or not. The issue is that people start taking all this into context and blowing it too far. They did it with the steroid thing, they did it with music, and they did it with video games. And where does all this stuff come from? Tragedies in the news. Make that tragedies in the news. There you go. Tragedies in the news. I gotta do this with my right hand. Bunny hops. Okay. That aside, I don't think anything I listen to on the radio is a problem. I don't think anything that we listen to or we watch on TV or in movies or we play inside a video game is a problem. The problem is that we don't have much people with mental health issues getting the help that they need. A lot of people don't see depression as a mental health issue when it is. Depression does count majority of the time for most of these school shootings. Bipolar disorder is one of them too. But depression is the biggest key factor. Why? Take an instance where we have two boys, right? Two boys. Both come from similar backgrounds. The only difference is one boy gets bullied to the point where he doesn't trust anyone. The other one is a socialite who would be a lawyer within 10 years. He'd be making money. The other one, bullied, depressed, antisocial, because he's afraid if he talks about his bullying problem that he's gonna get beat up again, or there's gonna be some serious repercussions, that he doesn't trust the world, or his parents divorced and that fucks him up. There's a majority of things that can fuck up a human mind and can break a person. I just told you about a big fraction of those things. But let me go ahead and explain something. A lot of these kids, they turn to games like, well, not like this one, but like Call of Duty or Grand Theft Auto, because these games are in fact another reality. Studies have been shown since 1991, since the first couple of violent video games that have appeared, and 1991 being the point where video games hit the mainstream like really fast. Well, it didn't really start until 1988-89. But 91 is where it peaked. Where we had Street Fighter, we had games like Super Mario Brothers, we had Doom. I think Doom came out in 94. But in that time span, all these games came out. And all these games came out, someone got all up in arms, complained to the government. The government gets put in, we have the ESRB labels for our amusement. Yep. Cold price that we live in, right? No. Then still people started complaining that video games are the problem. The problem is not video games, it's mental health. And I'll tell you exactly why. Because in the end, your entertainment is a want. Your entertainment has always been a want. You don't necessarily need this, or this, or this, or these. You don't need any of it, because it's a want. If you put your priorities in these things, then you're gonna be coming out poor and starving, basically. The problem is not entertainment that's the issue. The problem is the fact that we put suicide notes on the news. We put people who commit suicide on the news. Just recently, we've had 2 major shootings. One ended by a gunman, the other 2 ended by people with concealed weapons. Or the other one, I should say, is ended by concealed weapons. The thing is that we go out there and we don't even commend this stuff. In the past 4 years, we already had like 6 or 7 major shooting events, including the one that happened with Gabrielle Gifford, which is still a sad case because Gabrielle Gifford would never be the same as she was before because of all the shootings and everything. And that was stopped by gun owners with concealed permits to stop that kid from running away and taking responsibility of his actions. If it wasn't for the police, people in Aurora, Colorado would have had another shooting on their hands during a funeral. If it wasn't for the police, we wouldn't have caught that one dude who shot the theater that caused that said funeral. In the end result, one thing keeps coming up. Depression, mental illness. You see the correlation of coming out here? Antisocial behavior, drug usage, possibly. Kid's too smart for his own good. Not being that being too smart for your own good is bad for you. It's just that a lot of times that can be a dangerous thing. I can be a dangerous mind because I'm speaking my mind on YouTube and I'm getting paid for it. But video games are not the fucking answer. Look at the home front. I'm not talking about this home front. This is a game, by the way. No. I'm talking about, look at the home that these people live in. Look at the home that these people live in. Because 9 times out of 10, these kids probably wouldn't have done the things they did if they knew better. But what am I trying to say? Should we ban all video games? No. Should we tone down the violence in video games? No. Should we hurt other people? No. We need to find more people to be qualified as psychiatrists or people to know exactly the differences between depression, bipolar, and so forth, mental illnesses that actually exist, and use those signs and stuff and get that person help. Instead, we are in 2000 at the butt end of 2012, going into 2013, and none of us, from the top to the people on the lower sides, can sit there and explain to ourselves or explain to everyone why they shot them up or why they have guns in the first place, because we never reach out. We never ever reach out. Kid that's antisocial, we never reach out to him. What's going to happen the next day, the next hour, the next minute? I'll tell you. Each time we have an unsocial person running around the streets, or sitting at their house, or someone who's antisocial and they go to a gun range and start firing off weapons, particularly automatics or semi-automatics or high-powered rifles or pistols, which don't necessarily need to be in a civilian setting unless you're protecting yourself. The problem is not gun control. The problem is not video games or anything else. It's abolishing certain weapons from actually being purchased, which is actually necessary. And the second part is get people focused on mental health and getting them to know what depression looks like, what bipolar disorder looks like, what schizophrenia looks like. Stop the shit from its source. You don't have to go out there and raid your kid's CD collection and pull out all 6 Joker cards from the Insane Clown Posse and just sit there and say, well, Timmy, you can't listen to this Insane Clown Posse, especially these 6 Joker cards, because we're afraid you're going to go hurt somebody and yourself, and blah, blah, blah. You can't go to, what's that place? Cave and Rock, Illinois. Alright? Because we believe that you might hurt somebody. No. Putting restrictions adds a burden to this whole depression thing. That it makes it much more difficult to go through. Think of depression as a disability. Separate is a disability that you can overcome with therapy, of course. But think of it this way. I was diagnosed at the age of 17 with chronic mild depression. The problems with the chronic mild depression stems from the fact that my parents were divorced. Stems from the fact that I was beaten as a child. Stems from the fact that I've been beat up as a child. Been lied about. Had people going behind my back trying to tell me shit that wasn't existent. I was picked on at school. All 5 of those things actually committed to my depression. Add in 2 things that happened later on in life. At the age of 22, I was robbed at gunpoint on October 10th, 2010. And at the age of 24, on August 26th, 2012, I was also robbed by gunpoint. That will fuck me up. Guess which ones fuck me up the most? Is it the childhood stuff? No. I'm over that. Been over it. I forgive everyone who was involved in that type of thing, but I wouldn't forget it. Is it the fact that I was bullied in school because I just pulled that memory out of all the depository stuff that's in my back of my head? No. I'll tell you what fucked me up the most. Getting robbed by people at gunpoint. Fucks with your mentality, basically. It's something that is dear to me, that every time someone tries to talk, like they're gonna rob me, I don't take them. I sometimes take them seriously if they're not playing around. If I know the person, I know they're playing around, of course. But if they start throwing a gun in my face, telling me that they're gonna shoot me if I don't give them my money, I'm gonna take action. The thing is that a lot of people don't reach out to these people. You just don't. They look at them, they walk away. It's the old saying, if you were to be hurt in New York, say that you collapse because of low blood sugar, not everyone in New York City within a block for an hour, not everyone, probably like a few handfuls of people are going to go out there and try to help you. The others, they're going to walk right around you, carry on with their day because they don't want to be late for work, they don't want to get fired, they have their office on the 5th floor or the 50th floor. You catch my drift? The problem is when people start thinking it's not a disease, it's not a problem. The real problem lies underneath. It's the fact that we don't actually care for our fellow man like we should. We go out there, we look at them, smile at them, they smile back, and they fucking stab us in the back. No one wants to go out there and put their hands out to help you out. Instead, they want to put your hands out with a fucking gun in their hand. Or a knife. Or put their hands out in the form of a fist to your jaw. It's because people glorify violence. We as a society glorify it. Not all of us go into it. Not every Muslim is a terrorist. Not every antisocial kid is going to be a Columbine massacre shooter. Unless you can stop them from thinking that way. Tell your kids to stop bullying other people. Tell your kids to reach out a helping hand when possible. Talk to them. Don't sit there and with your little cliques and everything and try to, oh, Billy can't be in this part of the clique because he's not cool enough. We're gonna go be popular somewhere else. Fuck the cliques. Fuck the whole little group system. My dad's best lesson to me was to be happy and talk to people, all the people I meet. Why? Because everyone that I meet, as long as they don't do me wrong, I don't do them wrong. Because in the end, whatever impression you get from me, whatever impression you get from anyone else on YouTube or on Facebook or anywhere else on the internet, where this video is spread, I don't care. We all need to go out there and say hi. Enter a group discussion. Don't get mad. Just enter a discussion with this person. Instead, when we do enter into discussion a lot of times, the internet, people want to just go behind the anonymity, the anonymous side of the internet. Put on the facade. We go out there, we type, we talk. Mostly shit about each other. And I'm tired of it. I really am. You know what this whole shooting actually made me think? It made me think that a lot of people are not aware of how to deal with mental illness. We had 3 shootings during this presidency that were actually crazy. 3 major shootings to be exact. And being that this year. We had Aurora, Colorado. We had the shooting that happened in Portland. And we have the shooting that happened here. Or, not really here in Virginia Beach, but the shooting that happened in Connecticut. In the United States alone, since 1999, April 20th, 1999, day of the Columbine shooting, we have had 65 major shootings in the United States. A lot of them ended up tragic. Others were avoided due to the fact of a little bit of intervention. The problem is we shouldn't glorify suicide. We shouldn't glorify mass killings. If I were people on the Teen Nick place, which used to be Noggin, then it used to be the N, now it's just Teen Nick, I would be the guys over there. I'd be like, hey, try to tone that show Degrassi down a little bit, just a notch. Don't give them too much of an idea, but tell them that, this is what school shooting looks like. This is what happens during a school shooting. And these are things that occur. We don't want them to occur, but they rarely do. And we just need them to understand that when there's a school shooting, get behind a desk, get as much protection as you can. If you can exit the building, go. Now your exit routes, and then just go. It's going to be scary, it's going to be tough, and you're going to probably have depression and suicidal thoughts behind it. But the best thing to do is to try to carry on the best you can and just try not to think about it too much. I know that there's people out there that have seen the Columbine massacre and how much it affected them. People want to say video games are the answer and movies are the answer. That's not the problem. The problem is that people at the home side, people at school, people at home, people at the place of work, don't actually think before they, talk to anybody. And we end up having these shootings. We end up having these killings. You're gonna fire me? You're gonna fire me? I'm gonna come back tomorrow. And I'm gonna shoot the whole building up. Because I want my job. It's not the best way to carry on to have a job. The best way to have a job is not to worry about it. Don't worry about the small stuff. Worry about what's in here. For me, I wanted to do a lot of things to people, particularly to the people that robbed me. But I never crossed paths with them ever again. And I don't want to. If I ever get to see them ever again, probably during the time they're in the courtroom, either before and after their sentencing, and that's it. Questions I would ask are why? Why do you do this? And what made you compel yourself to do this? That's my issue. If you know anyone who has shown signs of depression, signs of mental illness, or just signs of problems like antisocial behavior, and it's legitimate because they avoid eye contact, they avoid all these communication things, reach out to them, trying to reassure them that it's okay. It's okay not to be happy. It's okay not to be amused by anything. It's just okay. Just calm down. Reach out to them. I said, I'm here to help. Help them out. If they're having a tough time, say if it's a rocky divorce, help them out. If they got fired from their job, help them out. If they came back from an injury where they lost limbs or whatever, help them out. Because here's the thing. A lot of good societies, the reason why we don't see Myanmar on the news, or Philippines in the news, or any other country in the news, is because, one, we do our best. From head to toe, we do our best to make sure all these things are avoided. Because they always help each other out. You don't see it in China. You don't see that anywhere. We just need to help each other out. Each and every one of us. I don't care if it's a homeless guy on the corner and he's just asking for some money so he can buy some food. Unless he starts being honest with you and starts telling you he's going to buy beer, then just don't help him. But if he's over there and he's like, I'm hungry, I haven't eaten anything in 4 days, and this is all I got in my account, can you at least spare me some change? And be like, okay, here's $2. Because that's the type of person I am. I just want to make sure that people understand that I believe wholeheartedly that you can bring back the faith of humanity by just helping each other out. By putting a stand and saying, I'm not going to let this guy kill himself. Or I'm not going to let this guy hurt another person. I'm not going to get this guy in jail over something petty. Because it's not worth it. It's not worth the sadness. It's not worth the sadness at all. This whole Newtown, Connecticut shooting could have been avoided if someone were to help out. That's all I have to say. If you like this video, dislike this video, go ahead. You want to discuss this? Leave a comment. You want to share this with your friends? You're free to. Also, be happy with what you have. Be happy with yourselves. Stay safe. Have a good night.